Okay, welcome everyone to Transition Time. So this is a class that I wanted to develop because it was so critical that at this time, as we're all sitting in quarantine, as we're all watching this big world that we're in go through chaos and flux and change, this is also a time for us to take time for ourselves. This is a time for us to really look inside and say, man, can I keep up with all these changes that are happening in the world, because they're happening fast. So the other thing is that I wanted to give you a perspective about the changes that are coming in this world. I've started channeling information about this world and the changes in this world full-time as a career. I started way back in about 2010. Left my full-time big state career job back in 2011 and started doing this full-time because it was such a calling, and I could hear where this world was transitioning to. So congratulations, congratulations, congratulations to you for taking such an amazing, amazing step and saying, I am ready to do something for me, about me, and in my healing. So again, I'm gonna just take a moment and mute a few people. If you guys are hearing people in the background, go ahead and send a text to the group just to say, hey guys, I think someone is not muted. Because if you're not muted, again, we're all gonna hear you. All right. I'm gonna share my screen and we're gonna get going, guys. We got lots to talk about and it's gonna be fun. So buckle your seatbelts, let's go for a little ride. Class 1 today is gonna get a little deep about what we're doing here in this world right now. I'm gonna talk about what my guides have channeled with me talking with thousands of clients and listening to guides since I was a very young girl. This is huge, and this can be a game changer if you haven't heard this before. If you are a client of mine, if you have been in my classes that I've been holding for the last, I think I gave my 112th class for our wisdom class last Saturday. If you are one of my students or you're one of my clients, I can definitely tell you may have heard this before, but this is so important to always go back and revisit. Because as you grow in either your spiritual growth, your personal growth, what's going to happen is you're going to hear things differently. So let's take a little gander at what is going on with the purpose of life. So the first thing that I want you guys to do is I want you just to analyze. I want you to analyze what you think we're doing here. This is a question that I ask almost every single client that I have. What are we doing here? What do you think we're doing here on this earth, in these bodies, going through what we're going through? What the heck are we doing here? Think about this. What conclusions have you drawn? And I want to share something with you. When I share what I'm about to share with you, please understand this. I'm not here to convince you of anything. I'm going to share with you what my guides have said. I'm going to share with you what I've come to understand from working with hundreds or thousands of people's guides. But I don't want to convince you. I'm not a guru and I'm not a religion. I want you to listen internally to yourself. What does your gut say? As I'm saying something, don't listen to me, listen to you. Stay out of your head and just listen internally. Listen to the guidance that you're being given. And it's going to either resonate with you or not resonate with you. And if it doesn't, that's okay. And if you want to challenge, challenge. If you want to ask questions, ask. What I explained already is that I started listening to guides a long time ago. I seriously had my first out-of-body experience when I was 6 years old. Yes, that's me at my 6th birthday party, actually. And when I was 6 and started to have this out-of-body experience, my guide started telling me about this big thing called the macrocosm, and then they would show me the microcosm of life, and I was too young to understand what the heck they were talking about. I thought I was just going crazy. About the age of 8, I started speaking to a set of guides. Well, I started speaking to one, my great-grandmother Genevieve, and after that, I started speaking to a whole group of guides when I was older. By the time I was 19, I started seeing visions and I started having premonitions. This has never stopped. As I said, I gave up a career to bring this information through with 3 degrees. I'm still paying off those darn loans, okay? But it was worth it to me because it helped me to understand that is not it. this is it. Here's what I've learned through all of these experiences of listening for so many years. It's been 52 years of listening. Your soul goes on a very, very, very long journey. This is not a one and done life. This isn't a, hey, this is it. There's nothing more to it. You're going to go to dust. You're going to become a tree and that's it. No, this is what they said. They said, your soul goes on 12 levels of soul development. And after that 12 levels, it doesn't end. It just transitions into something else. Okay. But we're going to talk at least about the first 4. All right. We'll talk about the other ones as classes go on. But for now, we're going to talk about the first 4. Did you know that of these levels of soul journey that you go on, Earth School, where you are right now, this is only level 3, friends. You're in grade 3. Okay. Grade 3 of soul learning. For me to explain how you got to grade 3 and what you're doing in grade 3, I want you to really think about this. Imagine that a long, long, long time ago, in a place very, very far away from here, there was a creator. And you can call this creator anything you want. But that creator, the way my guides explain it, they said, imagine that this creator had babies. I'm like, babies? And they said, well, not babies like humans have babies, but they kind of have babies. So the creator fractaled itself into millions of little points of light. And I was like, okay, got it. They fractaled into millions of points of light. So they had a bunch of babies. How in the heck did they do that? Hopefully they weren't breastfeeding. And they're like, no, it wasn't anything like that. They said, it's like, okay, so you've got all these little pieces of light. And I'm like, well, okay. And they said, one of those little points of light is you. One little point of light became your soul. And I said, okay, that's amazing. So we're one little soul. And they said, yes, this also helps you to explain that we are one consciousness. Okay. So guys, I'm going to just ask whoever just came on, would you mute your mic for me? We can all kind of hear that. And I think I need to set up in the future to automatically mute everyone. I thought I had that set. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. So here we are, you're one little amazing point of light. This is you, all right? This means that we're all coming from this beautiful, amazing creator and we're all one, okay? So we all came from this one little point of light, we're all connected. And I said, okay, so that's grade 1, we're just created? And they said, no, it's a little bit more than that. And I said, okay, so what? I said, this is beautiful love and light and we're all just here. And they said, yeah, you're learning to exist as a soul. You're learning to be conscious in grade 1. I'm like, okay, well, that's great. Okay, if this is pure love and light, can somebody please explain to me what in the hell we're doing here? Why did we even come to grade 3 if this is such beautiful love and light? And my guide said to me, oh, Kelly, don't be so dense. And they said, this is the thing. This is not wise love in grade 1. This is not expansive love. And it's certainly not unconditional love because you've never been conditioned. They said, this is like fairy flitty love, all right? And they said, you're very unproductive as a soul. So we need to have you get conditioned in many different ways so that you can grow in your wisdom and become productive as a soul. Maybe you can go on a mission one day as a soul. And I'm like, wow, that's cool. Okay. All right. So I got it. Here's the deal. We can't understand unconditional love and expand and grow until we've been conditioned to do what? And they said, well, you get conditioned not to love. Like, not to love who? And they said, not to love yourself, not to love others. I'm like, well, no, I love myself and I love others. And I'm like, yeah, of course you do. They said, no, here's what happens. You get conditioned by the human experience through all kinds of crappy experiences. Okay. You get hurt, you get wounded, you go through pain and suffering, and you get into all these human emotions and all these needs and all these reactionary behaviors, and you end up swimming in your head. That's human conditioning. And I said, well, oh, okay. All right. So we have to go through this. Why? And they said, because through all of that, you're going to learn unconditional love. And I said, okay. So we go to Earth School and we become humans. And they're like, oh, sweetheart, no. Human conditioning is for grade 3. You don't go from grade 1 to grade 3. I'm like, okay, what's grade 2? And they said, grade 2 is very, very fun. So when you go to grade 2, here's what happens. You go into the animal kingdom. I'm like, oh, okay. We become animals? Is this our spirit animal thing? And they said, yes, this is what the spirit animal thing is. But please understand there's purpose to it. Isn't this flitty, flighty thing you become part of a totem? They said, you're learning about instinct. We're not going to put you right into a human body. They're like, you have to learn to embody first. You have to learn about fight or flight and predator and prey and reproduction and life and death and survival of fittest and building community when you get to be a more advanced soul. And I said, so here we go. We were like these beautiful eagles. And they're like, yeah, I don't think so. I'm like, what? And they said, no, you don't just go into an eagle. That's a pretty advanced life. They said, we're going to start you out much slower, my friend. You're going to start as like a single-celled animal, okay? Don't just jump into an eagle and be like, I was a whale. I was a dolphin. No, you know what? You were a little ant. You were a little bug, okay? They said, we don't just start you in advance. This is why we have these levels. They said, you're going to become a single-celled animal so that you can learn to multiply your consciousness. You can learn to move. Oh, look at you. Oh, you're fantastic. Let's put you into an amoeba. Oh, aren't you pretty? You're just like, you're lovely. And they're like, yeah, can you move? Can you move? Yeah, you're doing great. Can you multiply now? Can you create a bigger body? And they eventually teach you to create a bigger body. You might be created as like a little gnat or a mosquito. Yeah, so next time you're slapping that mosquito, go, yeah, I just want to get this over for you, my friend. Okay, so you've got to move through all of this first, simply, all right? Then you can start to move into more advanced animals that are the predator instead of the prey, that are those that mate for life. Did you know that geese mate for life? Yes, that's a pretty advanced life, okay? Humans don't even mate for life, for heaven's sakes, you know? So we've got these amazing big animals that we can become. That is the purpose of grade 2. Now, there is a vast difference between animals and humans. And it's not just the way in which we go potty, okay? It is way deeper than that. Animals, they're very interesting because they communicate through intuition. Many people hire me as an animal communicator. I love communicating with animals because they're so easy. They're so honest. There's no lying with them. They don't have what we have, which is an ego. And we're going to talk about that in a second. They just communicate through telepathy. And so it's like, hey, how you doing? Yeah, I don't like this because this is going on. I'm like, okay, they have no pretentiousness, okay? Humans are very, very different. Humans don't communicate with telepathy, so they're not always honest with each other. Animals, they can't lie to each other. If you want to know what's going on with your animal, they're probably reacting to you because they feel you 24/7, my friends. 24/7. Okay? They know how you are always feeling. They are empathic. All right? So if you're upset and stressed, it's going to stress them out. All right? Humans, you walk up to a human and you're like, hey, how you doing? I'm great. And since I'm clairvoyant, I'm like, no, you're not. You're a mess. You're a wreck in there. I can feel it. Okay, and I don't say that to them, but I'm like, liar, pants on fire. Okay, humans aren't honest because we keep this big facade up. All right, and so here's the thing. Humans get into all of this pain because we have something called the ego. Again, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Animals feel. They don't emote. Humans emote. And we'll talk about that in a minute because this is huge. When you understand the difference between feeling and emoting and where that comes from, you're going to understand you. All right. So big difference. Animals aren't liar, pants is on fire. People are liars, pants is on fire. Animals communicate through intuition. Humans communicate through words. Animals don't have an ego. People do. Okay. That's kind of big. So what is the thing? What is this ego? This isn't egoic, like, oh, you're all full of yourself, you know, you're all that in a bag of chips. That's not what this means, okay? An ego is different. Every single human being has an ego that keeps you, and you're genetically programmed with this. It keeps you looking for love from other people. It keeps you looking, you know, to make everybody responsible for your happiness. You're not making me happy. Why aren't you here for me? You're not doing this the way I wanted. Why don't you love me? What do I have to do to get you to love me? Okay? And it means that other people then determine your worthiness to receive love. It keeps you looking to be wanted. Do you accept me? Am I okay? Do you like me? Are you going to reject me? Do I look good enough? Do you think my butt is fat? Okay, did I do something wrong? Are you going to betray me? Reject me? That's what humans do. We want to be accepted, so all of this rejection is possible. We also are looking for our worth and our value through other people. And so we try to prove our worth through what we do with our career or what talents we have. We are trying to be seen, heard, and heard well from other people. We care about getting value through other people through how much money we have, how successful we have, how popular we are, okay? All of that right there creates a huge amount of fear. When we look for love and acceptance and our worth and our value through other people, okay, and from everything outside of ourselves, we're going to do nothing but live in fear. It programs us to live in fear that we're not going to be enough, we're not going to have enough, and you might get hurt. It opens the door for you to be hurt, rejected, wounded, and betrayed, okay? Now, this is not doom and gloom. I also want to now talk about the difference between feelings and emoting, okay? When you feel something, so let's think about animals. They don't have an ego that conditions them to look for all their love and acceptance outside of themselves. Animals are like this. They're like, hi, hi, hi. Oi, oi, do you like me? You want to smell my butt? Oh, yeah, hi. Okay, they don't care. They just don't care what you think of them. They don't have an ego trying to find their worth and value through you. They find it through themselves. So they have feelings. They can feel an aversion to something like, don't do that, I don't like that. They can feel compassion, like, oh, I love you, and joy. They can feel territorial and protective of you. They can feel grief when they lose a friend. But this is the biggest thing. There's no emotional charge behind their feelings. It's not personal, okay? They don't feel slighted by you. They don't feel victimized. They don't have needs. They don't get wounded, okay? They might be like, I don't like that at all. Or they might feel fearful about something because they almost got hit by a car, but there's no emotional charge. Emotions, guys, are low-level reactions to the human condition. The human condition is your ego. The ego that keeps you looking for all of your worth, your value, your love, your acceptance through the eyes of other people. When you emote and when you have the human condition, you will end up with personal needs. You will end up with reactionary behaviors and all these harsh emotions inside because somehow you think you're not good enough. Okay? Or, as you're going to see in a minute, you might think you're too good. It's a stage we go through as a human. So I'm just going to stop for just a moment. I'm going to come back to you guys. All right? Give me a second. Let's stop the share. And all I want to do is just see if there are any questions. Yvonne, I got your message. I do speak very fast. I'm so sorry. Okay. All right, questions at all? How is this sitting with you? It's a lot to take in, unless this isn't new to you. Okay.
Good morning, everybody. It's Mimi from Ojai.
Hi, Mimi.
Hi. So this is sitting really well with me. Thank you, Kelly, for giving all this information. And it's wonderful to see you and your energy. And something I was working on last night is that I'm currently continuing a 12-step program. And we're talking about the ego and how to shed this false sense of self. And so I love how it interweaves, you know, like making a tapestry or a basket. And so I just wanted to give you that my 2 cents is that it really is setting really well. And I love the hearing that I came in. I knew that I fractaled away from source and that I'm a beam of light. I didn't know this step about being an animal. And I love that because I'm really connected to frogs and amphibians. And I know that that has a lot to do with like my reptilian brain, which is what I am working on in my 12-step program and getting over my addictions of self, addictions of shame, addiction, not just of drug and alcohol, but of looking for love and what you just said about, you know, searching for it outside myself. And so I'm really excited to take the class, and I just wanted to say good morning.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful. And I do have a message that somebody said, that somebody, it's a private one, but it's okay to read, it looks like. She said she's been noticing how she is so easily influenced by others, and she's been trying to let go of it. And she said, thanks for dealing with this human phenomenon in a group. It is important that we all see it, we all acknowledge it. And another message privately to me is saying, hey, so sometimes she's feeling that her worth, she puts her worth in her boyfriend's hands. And that's so many of us, we put our worth in other people's hands. And so, you know, she said she gets really triggered. You know, she said, so why do I get so triggered? And so why am I so hurt by so many things? Like if he makes comments about other women or watching porn, you know, why does that affect her? Well, that exemplifies everything that we're going to be talking about in class today, because this is a big thing and we all feel this. We all feel these pieces of being slighted when we don't feel appreciated, we don't feel value, and we have personal human conditioning that keeps us stuck. Okay. So one other person also says, are the stars a mirror of human souls on earth? Oh, yes, they are. And there are some times we're going to get into that in these classes. But for now, let's go back into the PowerPoint and let's continue to look at some of this human conditioning, because there's so much to go through with this. So the other thing I want to say, and I'm going to repeat this in so many classes, love, guys, it is not an emotion. And it is not an action. You cannot give love and you cannot receive love, okay? So if I ever say, dude, I'm sorry, but you're just not loved, it's because love is not an action or an emotion. Love is actually a state of being. You are love. That little star that fractaled from Creator, that is beautiful, perfect love. And that's what you are. It's just that people don't realize that. They think that, oh, it's something that I do. No, 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 you can't, okay? So couple other questions here. Somebody says, now that I'm in a position of not being able to work at all, my self-confidence has plummeted. She said, I realize I shouldn't place my value in my productivity at work, but I do. Huge, huge. That is exactly it. When we build our identity through what we do or how others see us, we're going to eventually fall every single time, okay? Unless you're a narcissist, then you never realize that you fell, okay? So here's one more comment who says, hi, Kelly, I'm noticing that the more I befriend and reduce my ego, the more open I am from the negativity of others. Doesn't a healthy ego braid into self-worth? Okay, so you're talking about different. So there's egoic, like Freud says an ego is an egoic thing, like a matter of self-worth. For me, an ego isn't that. The ego keeps you looking through worth and value through other people. Okay, so it is good that you end up with a beautiful sense of self-worth, okay? And I will say, the negativity that comes from other people, I love that you're actually reducing how that impacts you. The more you do heal your need for worth and value from other people, the less what they do is going to affect you. Because as we go through these classes, you're going to see that it was never about you in the first place. Every single person is humanly conditioned based on their personal experiences to be in their own personal pain. And we're constantly winging that and tossing it at everyone around us. And so you can walk up to a person and say, hey, nice shirt. And they can be like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that to me. Like, that was really awful and mean. And you're like, dude, I just liked your shirt. Okay. We don't know what is behind everyone's human conditioning. We don't know what affects them. All right. So this is about understanding that not to take what anybody says to you or does to you personal. Okay. We're also going to talk in upcoming classes because this is there's so much to teach. This is just the tip. Okay. So we're going to talk about how our human conditioning, when it comes back and it comes into our face, what's going to end up happening is that there's absolutely nothing that you need to do other than look at somebody and say, oh, I get you. Okay. So remember, people naturally live in fear that you're not going to be enough and you're not going to have enough and you might get hurt. So that causes some things to happen. Every single human this happens to, even a narcissist, they just don't realize it because they're in narcissism land. Okay. And I want to say something. The Creator loves narcissists because it helps so many of us move on our journey. Okay. So the fear that we live in, it causes people to get stuck in your head. Okay, it does. It causes you to spiral into thought and chatter and worry and fear. So you spiral into anxiety. You end up becoming desperate for love and affection or success or something. You become engaged in desperate acts. You become irrational. You might become angry and emotional. You might lash out at others. You might get depressed. You might get stressed. You might engage in reactionary behavior or indulge personal needs. And if you haven't done all those things, I'm going to call you a liar, liar, pants on fire. Okay? We've done all those things because we're human. All right? And it's our human conditioning that causes it. Your ego in your DNA is programmed with this ego purposefully. Not to put you through pain, not to make you feel awful. It is to help you to learn. This helps you learn lessons about conditional loving. And what it's going to do is you're going to be stuck in this ego until you are ready to move beyond your pain. And in the books that I wrote, I think in 3 of them, I put this quote. You need to go through enough good, bad, beautiful, and ugly about a topic. You need to have epic failures and successes before you are ready to move beyond a lesson. And until you go through all that crap around a lesson, you're not ready to move through it. So don't beat yourself up that you epically failed, that you screwed up, that you weren't good enough. Of course you were. Don't be upset that you blabbed your mouth off and said something mean to someone. Well, of course you did. This is how we learn. Okay? The goal is to not, but it's to move through. I've got a comment she says, I find that since the quarantine, my ego has been huge, trying to find acceptance through social media. When before the virus, I was actually less egoic. She said, I was getting much better. And then it hit me from being alone with social media. She's like, it's crazy. She's like, all this anxiety that I was going through. Yeah, you guys, it is. I will tell you that the stages of quarantine, because I'm on day 33 in Italy, still have not had any contact with people and went through the COVID virus, all right, by myself, coughing away with just like terrible. Okay, it was not fun. It's horrible. We go through phases with this quarantine, and these phases that we go through are going to cause us to move into need or holy shit, there's nobody around. Where is everybody? I'm not used to, I need to be social. Where's my social group? You know, it is going to cause you to go through these things, but it's perfect because it is going to surface some things in you, especially if you find yourself difficult to hang out with, especially if you find yourself lonely, especially if you find that you don't have, that being in your own silence is painful. These are good things to see. Okay. So The ego you want to consider like this background noise that's always there, and it whispers in your ear all of these little things. Okay, be in fear, be in angst, you know, oh, here's some good ones. Yeah, these, I forgot that I even put these down. Okay, you're not good enough. Chatter, 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 overthink, keep thinking, stay stuck, take it personal, get mad at them. If they loved you, they wouldn't have done that. Blame them. Ooh, judge them. They're not good enough. Okay, they hurt you. Don't forget that they hurt you. You're not good enough. You're fat and you're ugly. You loser. You're not loved. Be a victim. You're not enough. That may be painful to think about, but this is the type of chatter that the ego will do to you. And one of the things that this class is about is learning to tame the ego and heal from the human conditioning that you've gone through. Now, everyone, welcome to Earth School. This is grade 3 Earth School, and we can graduate while we're here or not. Okay, we're going to talk about how to graduate faster. Okay, there are no cliff notes, which means, you know, those little tests that you take to try to pass a grade. There's no social promotion. Okay, there's no way for you to get past anything. You know, you can't cheat. There is no cheating. Even those, for those of you who don't know, I channel those who are deceased. So I have channeled those who have committed suicide, and those who commit suicide always tell me the same thing. They're like, yeah, you don't get to check out of your lessons. I'm like, I know. And they said, I have to come back and do it all over again. I'm like, I know, but you'll be good, okay? So welcome to Earth School. In Earth School, you are going to learn to seek your identity through the eyes of others. Okay, this is a great curriculum. You're going to judge your worth and value based on how others treat you or how you perform in life, okay? You're going to determine your worthiness for love based on how you were treated as a child. Yes, you are. Let me repeat that one, because this is a big lesson. You're going to determine your worthiness for love based on how you were treated as a child. You're going to develop painful emotions, develop personal needs, and you're going to behave in a reactionary manner. Isn't that great? Isn't that fun? Okay, in school, you're going to learn all about the shame, the guilt, the depression, the sadness, the fear, the insecurities, the self-doubt, the powerlessness, the anger, and the pride that you came here to learn about. Okay? Until you realize that all of that all along was just a big lie. Just a lie. You were worthy and valuable and internally beautiful all along. I want to say something that I said to a client once, and you know, he was sitting in front of me, and he was, you know, was basically saying he was unworthy and all this stuff, and that he's not good enough, and his, you know, his brother is good enough, but he's not good enough. I'm like, what the heck makes you think that you are so special that you don't get to be beautiful, loved too? And he looked at me, and I'm like, no, I mean it. Don't go thinking you're so special that you're not beautiful, loved too. Of course you are. We all are. All right? It's just this lie that the ego tells us, and all of our pain and human conditioning. In class 2, you're going to learn about how neural programming and emotional charges in the body must be let go. And if you don't let them go, they will keep you stuck. So let's kind of review. All right? Here we go. People are born with an ego. Okay? The ego causes people to get into fear. Fear that they're not going to be nurtured enough, they're not going to be emotionally balanced or supported enough, that they're not going to be accepted, that they can be rejected or betrayed, that they're not going to have good enough shelter, food, environment, that they're not going to have good enough money or a job. All of that fear. I'm going to quick get in. Can you all get in and mute your mic? There's somebody who has their mic going. So if you can scroll over your cursor bar and just mute the mic, or if you're on your phone, just go ahead and mute it. Thank you very much. Okay, so here's what happens. And I want you to think about all of our systems in this world and what's going on in our world right now. When we operate from fear, because we're looking for a love and acceptance and worth and value outside of us, or through what we have or what we do, people get desperate. And when people get desperate, they need to protect the ego. And the ego is then going to develop systems to protect the ego. I'm going to have to just stop us for a minute. I've got to get in and just mute some people. So I'm going to stop the share for, oh, I think they took care of it. Okay. So these systems that we develop, all right, we're going to develop our educational system to promote our ego, our politics, you know, competition, better than, power, wealth, status, our economy, our healthcare, our business, our community, even, I'm sorry guys, but our religions. We're also going to create things like our media, our movies, our celebrities to promote better than. We do that so that we can allow ourselves to be right and validated and heard and special and respected and seen well, powerful, okay? And when we need to be those things, think about this globally. We will harm the planet for profit. We will harm the animals to be in control. We will harm ourselves. We will harm each other. That is what the ego does when we don't understand how to be in compassion with it. These classes are here to help us move into compassion and love and in the place where I don't need my profit and I don't need to overindulge money or put on, you know, something that isn't me, a persona. Okay, so here we go. Earth School takes a little while, guys. It does. Now, in the upcoming classes, we've got 20 minutes in class today. I'm going to teach you about why Earth School takes a little while, and then you're going to have some really big reflection to do before next class. All right, really big. We've got a comment, so I'm just going to pull up the chat. Jim says, is ego ever positive? The tamed ego is positive. Okay, in Earth School, you don't ever get rid of the ego. Okay, I'm sorry, you don't get rid of the ego in Earth School, but you can tame it. Okay, the taming means that you stop emoting, you stop taking things personal. Okay, you stop making assumptions, you get out of the chatter in your head and you just start to live in joy, and whatever comes your way, you're like, I got this. So here's how the ego can be positive. When it's tamed, it will help other people to tame it. We'll start teaching each other how to move through it. And the more that we do this, the better world we have. Okay? Somebody says, when someone makes a mistake that affects you, do you hold them responsible or do you forgive them and have compassion and not charge them? Okay, so if you're talking about a business, you have to comply to your business, you know, what you have set up in your rules, your bylaws, your working procedures, okay? When it comes to personally, I'm going to tell you this. You have to ask yourself, are you going to sue someone or make them pay for a mistake that they made? If you feel that it is something that you have to do to stand in your own well-being without anger, without feeling like you were wronged, without a lack of compassion, okay, don't do that. It's all about intention. If your intention is to say, hey, you know, we should probably work together, you know, this was, you know, legally wasn't okay, or you owe me for this, so let's work together to get this satisfied. I can understand that, you know, you've got to have your reasons as to why you did it, all right? So I don't want to judge you, and I don't want to be mad at you, but we're going to have to rectify this. It's all about intention. Where is it coming from? Is it coming from a bad place or a good place? It's a good question, thank you. All right, so Earth School takes a while, guys, just like the other first 2 grades did. Earth School, you actually have to go through lifetime and lifetime and lifetime and lifetime and lifetime. Now, this is going to be fun because you're going to see everybody you know in these stages. You're going to move from a baby soul to an infant soul, to a young soul, to a mature soul, to an old soul. Okay? And in each lifetime that you live, you know exactly what you're getting into. You set up your life perfectly. You would have been like, I have to learn this, this, and this in Earth School this time. I'm a young soul, so I'm ready for this. So I'll take that mom, and I'll take that dad. Oh, I'll take that abandonment, that abuse, and that rejection. Oh, that is going to be perfect. I'm going to get good and self-absorbed. Yay, jumping in, going to Earth School. Okay, you set this all up. You know what you're getting into. This isn't a mistake. Okay, so you have to remember that. And every single stage that I'm about to tell you about, you all have to go through it. So one of the things that we want to do, because we're human and we have an ego, we want to put ourselves in a hierarchy. Well, I'm an old soul and you baby soul, you just can't vibrate at my level. Okay, please. That is just spiritual superiority. Okay, and you need to get over your ego because that's just ego trying to make you special. Okay, there's no hierarchy to this. I want you to think about our life. Would any of you look at a 5-year-old in our world and go, oh my God, can you just grow up and get married and drive a car? You're 5. I grew up and I am driving a car and I go to work. Can you do this too? That's ludicrous. Of course, we'd never say that to a 5-year-old child. You don't do this to somebody who is a baby or infant soul either. There is no judgment and there's no hierarchy. We're just at different stages of growth in our soul development. And we just happen to be incarnated as a human in these stages. So let's look at the stages. All right, guys, here's where it gets a little fun. All right, not fun now. I think this is all fun and all amazing, but here we go. I want you to imagine that this big oval is Earth School, okay? And you're gonna enter where it says an S coming from source, or when you're just a soul. And you're like, okay, entering into human Earth School. Yes, grade 3. And you're gonna jump in as a baby soul, okay? And you're gonna go lifetime, 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 when you get up to infant. And then you're gonna go lifetime, 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 and you're gonna get into a young soul, and then lifetime, lifetime, mature soul, and then eventually you'll make yourself around the oval, and you will be an old soul, you'll go back to source, and you're gonna go into grade 4, and we'll talk about that in a minute, okay? Babies on this earth presently are 20% of this world. Infants are 50%, young are 20%, and mature are 8%, old souls are 2%. If you are here listening to this, you are at least the latter end of young, mature, or old, or you would not have the capacity to hear this. You cannot hear, all right? You cannot hear my words if you were a baby, infant, or early young soul. All right, so please keep that in mind. That doesn't make you better than, it just makes you more wise and experienced, okay? Lots of comments coming through. So someone says, she said, I did that suing someone thing. She said it was a huge lesson in learning where my anger and fear could take me, and how that behavior shuts down both parties. You're absolutely right. It doesn't usually get you anywhere but more trouble. Okay. She said, I could have been so much more productive had I just moved from freedom and on my own journey instead of suing. Agreed. Okay. Sometimes it's necessary, but usually not. Ron says, and Carol, I'm on the other side of a lawsuit. So she, he made a private comment. You guys can all read. Another person says she's pretty good at not taking things personal, not letting others dictate how she feels. She tries to live in joy a lot of the times, but every now and then something triggers her. Now, guys, the triggers we're going to talk about, those triggers are indicators to you what you need to heal. Okay, so here we go. We're going to talk about these. Let's start with these babies. Now, I want to tell you about these percentages. They're changing, and they're changing quickly. Every day, 300,000 people on average die, and not just from COVID. Okay, we just have an extra amount right now. On average, about 300,000 babies every day are born. The babies who are being born today are that of the young and mature and old, the latter end of young. They are changing this world. And this world is in a big, big transitional state that I've been channeling since 2010. Okay, we'll talk about this in a minute. Let's talk about babies, okay? Babies are what I call a socially developing ego. For them, love is need. They are in either very simplistic lives or very tumultuous because they're not wise. They're baby souls, okay? They're new to the ego. They're like, dude, I don't understand the ego. I just need to be loved, okay? They're codependent on groups because they don't understand how to be independent, okay? They are often, because they're so far from understanding earth energy, they don't know how to get the money, so they're poor. And they depend on others for their material needs, or they need government welfare, okay? And then that's just not saying everybody who has government welfare I was on unemployment once in my life, okay? But, it's that on average, okay? So you get drawn to relationships with other people who are equally dysfunctional or have codependent needs too. They're drawn to groups whose leaders want to deliver control. Fundamental religions, cults, gangs, warring religions, secular groups, exclusionary groups, intolerant groups, okay? They need you to love them or they will reject you, okay? That's the baby, 20% of our world. Now, they go through lifetime, they get to the top of that oval, right? And then you become an infant soul. And you guys would have gone through this already. So I want you to have passion and compassion for these people. All right. Infant souls, 50% of our world. Here's what they're like. They're called the conformed ego. All right. Their life is lived inside of a box. All right. They're lived through expectations and normalcy, and they need to conform. And they believe that there's an expected way to live life. And if you're not living that way, ooh, you don't like that. Don't be gay and don't have a tattoo because that's just weird. You're psychic? Ooh, yeah, that's cray cray. Okay, they can't handle that. They have they said that they feel that different beliefs are not appreciated or accepted. They seek to do the right thing because they know what's the right thing to do. Now, they tend to put those with an indulged ego, the young souls, they put them on a pedestal and seek to be like them because they haven't reached the young soul yet. You have lots of money. You are a superstar. Okay, because they don't realize, maybe that's not so healthy. All right. They're uncomfortable with people who do not conform or live outside of the box. All right. They have average incomes, their average religion. They work hard for their day's wage. They follow the rules. Okay. And they tend to be really self-righteous. You're not living life right. This is how you live it right. Okay. They seek normal relationships. All right. And they're drawn to groups that promote the right way to live. All right. Gotta love the normals. Okay. They're 50% of our world and that's the age that they are. So now let's take a look. You go through lifetime. Now we're going to get to the young souls. Ooh, those young souls. See the earth and ego. They are totally earthbound and totally ego bound. So for them, love equals respect. I need you to respect me. They are materialistic. Okay, they have to have their material possessions displayed, usually blatantly. Okay, wealth, power, and success are how they get their worth and their value. They can be very narcissistic, very manipulative. Okay, but remember, the Creator loves them because they help us move. They like to feel better than you and strive to feel better than you. They need to be important to others. They have more degrees than you. They're better looking than you, and they drive a better car than you, and they need you to know it. Okay, they're very, very good at making the money, and they're very good at keeping it from you, my friends. Okay, they're very skeptical. They're like, okay, show me the science. All right, they don't believe in anything they can't see or control because it takes away their worth and value, which is having all the control. All right, they need to seek relationships that serve their needs to be better than others or to be important. Right? They often put profit, the need to maintain power and control before people, the animals, and the planet. They are the ones who are creating our systems, my friends. They are happiest when you appreciate their achievements, and they are drawn to elitist groups. Okay? Not so pleasant, but we all go through it. No judgment. We don't have to like them. We don't have to invite them over for a barbecue, but you know what? We don't get to judge them either. Now, lifetime. Now we're getting to some of you guys here, actually the majority of you here. All right, the mature soul. This is called living with a tamed ego. This is where love equals compassion. This is where you're okay with being vulnerable and exposing your human conditioning when you need to speak a truth. You're not afraid to hide that you've been felt like a victim or you did something wrong. You don't need to be right anymore. You seek to become non-judgmental toward all these other souls who are just going through life. You look for purpose. You need your drive that comes from internal happiness. Okay, you're looking for that internal fulfillment. You seek to forgive yourself and others because we were all humanly conditioned. That's what mature souls do. You don't take personal what other people think of you anymore. Okay, you don't take personal what they do to you. All right, you're not interested in competition. You want to collaborate, right? You're here to promote harmony with the earth and the animals. You're not driven by fear anymore that you're not going to be enough. You realize that you are not a sum of what you are or what you do. You're a sum of who you are. You're not a sum of what anyone else thinks of you. You need to move to the beat of your own drum. Yes, you're different. And the souls that I've worked with, the people who I've worked with who are mature souls, I would say 98% of them have said to me in session, and I've worked with thousands of them, they have said to me, I don't know, I just never felt like I ever belonged. Well, you don't. 90% of this world are baby, infant, and young souls. Okay? No, of course you don't fit in, of course not. You need to move to the beat of your own drum. All right. You seek relationships that are willing to grow past the needs of ego with you. I just gave a class for couples that was called the Evolved Egos. I taught them to deep dive with each other, not just surface swim. Okay. You're happiest when you can live an internally peaceful and contentful life. That is you. You seek money, not because it drives you or defines your worth. You seek it because it brings you peace. I gotta be able to pay my bills. I don't want to stress. Okay, and I like to travel. Great, but it doesn't define you. Okay, feel into that. How many of you are this? Now, lifetime, lifetime, lifetime. Here's the old souls, man. These 2%, which are growing. Okay, they live an unconditionally loving life. They're living with the tamed ego. Right? They're not emoting. They have very few reactions, very few needs. They accept people at whatever stage they are at. They don't project or feel victimized. All right? They're going to call themselves out when they act like a jerk. They're tolerant, they're loving, they're accepting. They live in harmony with nature and look for, they don't want opulence. They want to live in harmony with nature. Their wealth is shared. They know that they don't have lack, and their measure of worth is defined by their kindness, compassion, generosity, and internal joy. And they are happiest when all, including themselves, are living in harmony. They're your teachers, your role models, your motivators, okay, that help you to also understand this stage of development. So I want you to feel into all the people you have experienced in life. I want you to think into your parents, your siblings, your friends. Where are they at? Okay, where are they at in this life, this experience, these souls? Remember how I said that life is changing? My guides explained, starting in 2012, there was basically we started a 50-year phase of change. And over these 50 years, as the new baby soul, or I'm sorry, the new older and mature souls are born into our world, these are going to be the new figures. We're going to have 2% of this earth will be baby. 8% will be infant. 5% will be earlier young, but 15 will be latter. 8% are going to be, 50% will be mature, and 20% will be old. And here's what we're doing, guys. Check this out. It's beautiful. We are moving this earth into a grade 4 planet that lives with a tamed ego, that is driven by unconditional love, not fear you're not going to be enough. And competition is now collaboration. You don't need to be important to other people. You want to reclaim your beauty and your innocence. You treat the earth well, animals well. You want free energy. Okay? It's holistic and natural. You have healthy foods. And people, we do not tolerate people who put profit before people, the animals, and the planet. All right? I've got lots of comments, but I've only got 2 minutes left, so I need to get to the last thing so that you guys can move into your homework. All right, so here you go. I'm in a big classroom, now what? Okay, you told me I've got this big human condition experience, now what? So here's now what? Now is transition time. Now we've set you up to understand all the upcoming classes and the work you're going to be doing. I'm going to go about 5 minutes over. You're going to transform your human conditioning into lessons learned. All right? You're going to look at how you were conditioned in life. You're going to determine how it has affected you. What false beliefs did you develop? What kind of stuck emotions did you develop? You're going to identify your personal needs. Yes, you are. Your coping mechanisms, your reactionary behaviors, and I'll share all my downfalls with it all the way through because Lord knows I had to go through this a lot. All right? You're going to engage in personal healing to change internal needs and reactions. You're going to learn about forgiveness of yourself first and then others. You're going to learn to take your power back. You're going to find compassion. And you're going to learn to get out of your head. Chatter, 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 gone. Okay? This is just something we can do together. As I said, there's no charge for this, just show up. All right? What my mission in life is to see people understand this. I didn't quit my state job and give away my pension and my high paying job, my house on a lake and my boat to go into doing this type of work for nothing. I did it for you. All right. So here's our first step, guys. We need to understand how you were conditioned and how it has affected you. And so what I'm posting right after class, this PowerPoint will be there, and there are 2 different worksheets, okay? The worksheets are going to be about, first of all, what is your human conditioning? And the second one that you do is going to be, how did that human conditioning affect you? Then you're going to create a timeline, okay? The directions will be on the Facebook page. The timeline is all about your life. What have you gone through? Okay, what are your experiences? So if you're 80, you're going to put 0 to 80. For me, I'd put 0 to 52. Okay, and I'm going to go through and I'm going to identify what was going on at that point in my life. You might have chunks you don't remember. You might group things together in middle school, or junior high if you were my age. Okay, you're going to go through and you might just go through every age if you've got a great memory, or you might go, I have no idea what was happening this year. Okay, you might call it your marriage years, your divorce years, your hard years, whatever you want to do, but identify it. So many people are afraid to go back and look at how they've been conditioned because they're like, I don't want to live in the past. I want to live in the now. Well, great. Then that means your past will always drive you. You want to do that? You just stick with it then. See how that gets you. You built your life on false beliefs about yourself. And everyone knows if you build your tower on a weak foundation, it will eventually crumble. So do you want your tower to crumble? Or do you want to take the time now to look at what's there? When I first looked at all of my pain inside of me, and I have to tell you guys, I was in a very painful place at one point in my life. And when I first went to look at my stuff, I was just like, oh my God, I'm a wreck. But I also knew this, if I didn't look now at that time, if I didn't look, that would always be a part of me. And I chose me. If you choose you will move past this. I can look at every experience that I have ever had in my life and I don't feel any of it. I don't emote. There's nothing to emote about. There are moments I emote. There are times that I can get into that place because I'm human, okay? We still have an ego. You don't get rid of it, but it's so tamed, it takes a lot to bring it out, okay? People can say terrible things, do terrible things, and it's kind of like, that's your issue, not a me issue. But you got to get there where you don't trigger as much, okay? And when you do trigger, you're willing to talk about it with whoever you triggered with, right? So, instead of being reactionary, you're wise. All right, we got lots and lots of questions, but one last thing. As you're going through, when you feel bad, sad, sick, broken, unworthy, insecure, powerless, I remember when I first was feeling guilt and shame, I was sick to my stomach. And what I did is I asked Archangel Michael, but you can ask anyone you want to. I asked Archangel Michael to bring a box. Okay, you can call on whoever you want to. Call on your higher self, or just if you want, put a box next to you. I don't care how you do it. Right? I'm not here to teach you that. What I'm here to do is tell you my experience. I had him bring a box, and I took all the guilt and the pain and the shame that I was feeling in that moment, and I poured it like a big black cloud. I just kept pouring. I don't want this in my body anymore. I don't want to feel this. I don't want to feel this. I'm bawling and crying and pouring it into this box. And I just started feeling better. And I said, okay, Archangel Michael, take that box, tie it up in string, take it to source and transmute it to love, because I'm done with it. That right there, there's a physical thing that you're doing. You're actually releasing negative electrons from your body. Okay, we'll talk about that next time. But for now, just trust me. Put it in a box. Don't hold it. If you get stuck, reach out. You're not in this alone. There were 57 people on this call. Okay, we're all here learning and growing together. Get on the Facebook page, post something, let people commiserate with you. You're not alone. And every single human being feels this, every single one. So let me stop the share. Let me get in and let me answer some of these questions. So, can you explain the difference between a soul that comes in as a baby or infant and through life lessons moves to a mature and old versus what the are saying about souls being born into this world? This earth is in the process of transitioning from a grade 3 planet where the majority of our souls are baby, infant, and young to a grade 4 planet where the majority of our souls are latter end of young, mature, and old. So because of that, the souls that are being born into this world are already of that ladder, okay? Because we are transitioning, okay? And we are the way showers to help them in their new world, okay? We are here, you are on this call because we together are going to create a world that is beautiful for these beautiful babies. Thank you for asking that. What about the difference between introverts and extroverts? Oh, okay. So many introverts are very naturally introverted. Shyness is beautiful. It's about learning to accept it. If you're an extrovert, sometimes it's for need. We're going to get into this when we talk about need. Okay, you'll see the extroverted need, but there's also an extroverted calmness. You'll see it. This is something we're going to address next time. We're going to get into personal needs, reactionary behaviors. All right, and it's going to be good. You're going to see exactly that. Can you evolve from mature to old in one life, or do you have to do this with different lifetimes? You have to do this with different lifetimes, 100%. Now, if you saw yourself in baby, infant, and young, that's because let's say you're a mature soul. Well, you can experience all those other ages, but you can't go past mature. Let's say you're an infant soul. You can only experience baby and infant, only experience. You can't experience what you're not at yet. So if you're a young soul, okay, you're here, you can experience baby, infant, and young, but you can't experience anything under it. So some people think, well, I've got some of the qualities of an infant. Well, you might, but you're a mature soul, okay? You might be stuck there or living in infant land because that's where your family is or your work is, but it doesn't mean that you are. You're gonna know internally that you're beyond that, okay? But you can't evolve. No, you're not gonna evolve through more than, not in one lifetime. It takes a lot of experiences, okay? Let's see. We know that, okay, I get, it was a private message. Okay, oh, thank you. Somebody says, I'm an amazing teacher. Thank you. Okay, so somebody said, I invited a couple of people here. Are you talking about the Inner Wisdom Circle Facebook page? Yes, I am. Okay, the Inner Wisdom Facebook page, get on it. If you don't know, private message me, okay? And we'll get you into that group so you can see all the notifications. Okay, someone says, is this the right place to ask how we find out our galactic origins? How can we confirm if we are a star seed, Syrian, etc.? that is something I'm going to address, and it's a big conversation. Okay, so let me make a note, and we'll start next class with that, because I'm already 8 minutes over in this one, and that's a big conversation. So yeah, we can talk about that. Ron gave the Facebook page. Ron, you are rocking my world right now. Thank you. Nikki says, you have answered this, but you may have answered this, but how are new souls formed? Or are they? They are, and that's the fractaling of the creator. So if you want to go back, this was all recorded. You can go back to the beginning of class and listen to grade 1, soul development. Okay, so here's the deal. We've got some work to do, but nothing, trust me, nothing has come your way that you weren't able to handle, and nothing has come your way that you didn't ask for or set up for yourself. Everything that we go through in letting go of your own personal fears, anxieties, chatters, okay, pain, is something that everyone has gone through. Maybe personal to you, but we've all gone through our own stuff. The other thing I need to say, everyone is humanly conditioned. Okay, everyone. It's just that some people's human conditioning is uglier than others. Really ugly. I work with attempted murderers. I've worked with pedophiles. I had one man, he abused 23 children. I have worked with people who have been, done illegal things, who have been really mean and hard and accusatory toward other people. And you know what? I love them the same. I'll leave you with this message. My guides explained to me, you know that you are unconditionally loving when you understand that Hitler, Mother Teresa, Gandhi, and the devil himself, if you want to call it that, a very evil person who harmed you, they are equally beautiful souls. They just had very public and very human conditioning. When you can love them equally, you are there. All right, let's get you there. Ciao, everybody. I will post this recording. If you want to pass it on to anyone, you are welcome. You're welcome to invite anyone to class. Okay, let's just move through this and make a better world. Mwah. Ciao.
Hi, Kelly.
Bye, honey. Ciao.
See you next week.
Oh, I can't wait to actually see a person in person again.
I know.
I need a hug.